Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zest with me, Shel Marie, the podcast that would take you on a journey from the hustle to the harmony, fueling your passion whilst finding your peace. Today, it's an absolute honor to welcome a truly transformative voice in mental health, well-being, and inclusion. Known as the Unboxed Therapist, Marcelline is a award-winning psychotherapist, consultant, author, and the founder of IntraWELLTH. There's a reason why I said it like that, which we will explore later, which is super important. She disrupts the status quo with her powerful blend of lived experiences and professional insight. With over a decade of work spanning the NHS, education, prisons, charities, and the corporate sectors, she is a fearless catalyst for meaningful change. Her approach is poetic yet profoundly human, using storytelling and narrative to help individuals and organizations reclaim their voice, reframe their experiences, and ignite lasting transformation. As a thought leader in mental health, she partners with senior leaders, national organizations to create shifts that not only are deeply felt, but practically implemented. From creating the mental health and the mental wealth, that's an interesting little slip up there. So from creating the mental wealth code to co-authoring the Race is Complicated toolkit, her mission is bold and clear: to disrupt minds, empower voices, and build new narratives from the roots up. It's my absolute joy and pleasure to welcome such a courageous, inspiring, and deeply impactful guest to Zest today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. I feel truly privileged to be invited to your podcast. I absolutely really appreciate what you stand for and the conversation that we've had as well. Your feedback was so well received, and it felt aligned to my purpose as well. So thank you for having me here today.
Oh, you are so welcome. And actually, I feel like I wasn't expecting that, which is really interesting because I feel like the power of words and a bio and the person. And the reason why I want to mention this is because I think the word disrupt always seems to sound like it's chaotic and out there and, almost like rage.
Mhm.
When you've really showed me, even in what you just did then, and obviously this is just me from the little tiny bit of interactions we've had since starting.
Mhm.
You are the perfect disruptor because you come in and I feel nothing but love and heart. And you, from what I just saw then, from your lovely, what you just shared, you just drop it. That's what I'm sensing and feeling. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I'm feeling. So with that in mind, because I know we're not one dimension, there's multiple, not that we want to call them masks or like hidden things, but we there's times when we want to be this version of us, and there's times when we want to step up into another version. So
Mhm.
thinking about that, disrupting the status quo, tell us a
Mhm.
little bit more about that.
So disrupting the status quo initially started with the work that I'd done with the consultancy, because aside from IntraWELLTH, I also have a consultancy with my business partner where we provide training on anti-oppressive practice. So we do a lot of focus around race and culture. And how that started was being two trainees qualifying to become counselors and psychotherapists. We started to recognize the gap and the void around inclusivity, representation of people that looked like us. And when we were commissioned to write a toolkit on anti-oppressive practice for the counseling and psychotherapy world that was launched in 2023, um, we very much came with this ethos of disrupting the status quo. And at first, people kind of thought, oh, disruption, like you mentioned, it sounds like chaos. But no, that's not what we meant. We didn't mean to be negative. We didn't mean to be, I suppose, associated with the negative connotations that come with disrupting. It was more to put our foot down and say, this needs to change. And I just took that on board with IntraWELLTH in terms of creating the mental wealth code, changing the status quo, so continuing that journey, but within my own practice and consultancy. And the reason why I choose to disrupt the status quo is because change can only be apparent if we disrupt. Being quiet, being, I guess, being on standby, talking about it, hoping something will change is not enough. And I'm not saying that you have to scream and shout about it, but you need to be a little bit disruptive for people to hear your voice. And I just came to that point in my journey where I was once someone who was scared to speak up. I didn't really have a voice. And then I found my voice. And I recognized, just like everyone else, that it's important to use your voice because it's needed. You don't know who can need your voice. And this is why it's so important to have that purpose in life. Identify your purpose and use it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being disruptive.
Oh, there's so much in that. Wow. Even down, which I really love, that again was unintentional, but it just shows you fully embody and understand and live what you are almost, we don't want to use the word preaching, but what you believe in. And that's why I feel, whether it was intentional or not, the word disruption is the perfect interesting word, because it gets people's attention. She's a disruptor. And I think that is so powerful because it's almost like, again, whether it's intentional or not, you get people listening and then that's it. Now you plant the seed. And that's the beautiful thing. And I really love what you said. There doesn't need to be, and I actually find often the ones shouting the loudest are not making the most impact because they're, listen, look at me, I need to be heard. Look, not always. But it's those ones often that, are just quietly confident and they come in and they fulfill what they need to in whatever way it is. So I love that. And I really love that you use that word. Because I feel like, again, just from having this conversation, words clearly hold memories, they hold frequency, they hold meaning to different people. So actually, why not start changing the meaning of a word? Why not start using it for a positive way? So I love that. I love that so much.
Words are important, for me, causing disruption is, you can look at it as shaking up the table a bit, waking people up, saying, I'm here, I have something to say. And this is why I speak of purpose, because to do it correctly is to understand your purpose. It's not just about finding it, but understanding your purpose.
Yeah.
And just dropping those little gems here and there. Because if you don't understand your purpose, then you're just disrupting and there's no outcome. My disruption is because there's an outcome. And I always say that I'm here to speak for the unheard voices. And the reason why voices are not being unheard is because we're not shaking the table enough.
Oh my gosh, I could listen to you all day already. I'm like, wow, girl, yes. You're definitely getting my fire ignited. And again, not in a like, like in the, there's just something even more, like what you say, words are so important, but with the intention and the annotation behind it and the action, the aligned action, that's
Mhm.
the true change. So, oh gosh, wow, amazing, amazing, amazing.
Mhm.
And so with that in mind and thinking back, and I know often we need to look back only in order to know how we need to bring people forward with us, okay, I believe. So for maybe those people that are feeling a bit silenced, unheard, what kind of tips would you give them? At what point did you almost, well, like not putting words in your mouth, but like what I felt for enough is enough? At
Mhm.
what point did it get to that? And then can you remember back to like how you began to start that process?
I think it started with taking a risk. Like most change is about taking a risk and just putting yourself out there. And by putting myself out there, which was an issue with the anti-oppressive work, and we all know that when we're talking about race and culture, it's such a sensitive topic, and people either hide away from it or they're very dismissive or defensive about it. And so I took a risk to speak up about a topic that I wasn't just really passionate about, but a topic where, for someone who doesn't have a voice, it's a big risk to speak up
Mm.
about this topic. And I recognize that if I don't speak up, nothing will happen. And what am I benefiting from staying silent?
Oh my gosh. Wow, girl. Wow. Not girl, you know what I mean? Woman.
I
Absolute
know.
woman of impact and purpose. And do you know what I heard in what you said was, and okay, I may say these things often, but there's clearly alignment with me and my guests, and that's why maybe I seem to repeat the same things. But that's a leader.
Mhm.
Because actually, who made the rule that you had no voice? Yes, you did have a voice.
Mhm.
Whether someone knows your name or not, they will
Mhm.
know your name
Mhm.
because you will speak what you need to say. And that's what you did. And I love
100%.
that because that's what a leader does. A leader leads the way.
Mhm.
So thank you for
100%.
that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And it's interesting that you say that in terms of leadership because um, as I've been doing a lot more work around leadership, because with the mental wealth code, there's also the mental wealth code for vision-led leaders.
Mm.
And what the course talks about is very much how my theory is that no one is truly born a leader. We are born with, I feel that we're all born with leadership qualities. It's just that some people identify them from earlier on. And of course, depending on who your parents or caregivers were, from a young age, you may have had parent or caregivers who said, "Oh, you're a leader.
Mm.
You're very determined. You're very powerful. You've got a voice." So from a very young age, you really started to show your leadership qualities. But if you are someone that those words, those phrases were not really um, put in you at a young age, you're probably not going to identify those leadership qualities until later on in life. And this is why my course for vision-led leaders is more about being identity driven. I know a
Mm.
lot of people talk about being a purpose-led leader, which is very important, but I say that we need to start off with identity first because I very much believe that a lot of the times people perform leadership rather than embodying it.
Yeah. Well, that's as literally as you were saying that. And again, there's no judgment to any paths of life. We've all got different walks of life, but there's a thin line between the shiny child and everything they do is perfect and and then it everyone has their own lessons, let's put it that way. And then there's the ones, ironically, that should be embodying that, should be the leaders that are having to go through, which I think ties perfectly into something else you express in your bio, the power of the narratives and the stories and the limiting beliefs. So I love what you said, if I've heard it correctly, that yeah, first of all, who are you? What identity are you? Not what someone's told you. Who truly are you? And I think that is such a powerful seed and start. And I love that, because otherwise then, and I know people can do it, but you're going to get imposter syndrome. You're going to feel like, okay, you're almost going to be having the mask. Whereas if you really know you, who you are inside, which I feel like you are offering, which is amazing, and you can stand in that room, you can go on that stage, you can whatever, type on that platform, and you will fully know this is me. This is fully me out of all of these narratives, all of these whatever's been fed into my mind. And I think even the ones that are told you're a leader, you're this, you're that, still have an element of that, of actually they need to get that kind of like, actually, who am I again? Like, do I even want this? So I think it's so powerful, so powerful. Thank you.
It's definitely, once you really connect with who you truly are, your authentic self, you become unstoppable. And when you've spoken about, sometimes some people, they get to that point and we question, actually, who really am I? In therapy, psychology, we talk about the true and false self. And our false self is very much that from a young age, again, parent and caregivers, they drop these little gems of who you are. Oh, you're so funny, you're so smart, you're so strong, you're the leader of the family, you're going to do this when you're older, and that. And then we get older and people get to that point of they've been surviving being that person. They've been in survival mode and it's no longer working for them. And it's actually, well, what's actually going on for me? There's a shift. I don't understand what's going on for me. And that's your true self wanting to come out, wanting to break free. The person who you really are, the person who you're meant to be, And I've seen that so many times in therapy. And it's just the same as well in terms of our careers, because some of us from early on, we connect with our true selves, and some of us it's until later on in life. And it's fine, because every journey is different.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think even while on the journey, knowing that you're going to evolve again and again and again, and that's okay, Like I had a beautiful guest recently, and her granddaughter came along, and that was a different shift in her. Now she was like, actually, yeah, I want to continue what I'm doing, but I want to do it more with a family focus. And that's fine. We don't have to have it all figured out, but I think it's important what you're offering that people should definitely be looking into, and I will be putting in the notes, to just first of all be the here and now. What is it right now in this very moment that I believe in, or I want to maybe infuse more into the world? And I think that's super important. Whether that's being a mother, being a motivational speaker, it doesn't actually matter. And remember, we don't have to just be that one category. We can be multiple. So I love that. Gosh, I feel like I could speak to you for so, there's so much that I'm just like, I want to know. So I guess, to have practical steps for now, like people are definitely going to be reaching out anyway. But in regards to these narratives and these things that we've been told, positive or negative, it doesn't actually matter, because it all goes back to us and what we believe anyway, and whether we determine it as positive or negative. What steps could people maybe take today? What's something they could do today to just be kinder to themselves and start changing that narrative?
It's to be kinder to yourself. It's about reconnecting with yourself. And the first thing is give yourself grace and understanding your pace, not other people's pace, but your pace, right? You don't have to move to the same rhythm as other people. And the same goes when it comes to healing. It's really about, when you're on this journey, in some ways to have that tunnel vision so that you can just focus on you. And you can start off what I do with clients, um, I will say to them, take yourself on a date.
Yeah.
Go on a date. And I always say, don't go to Nando's because it's very easy to go to Nando's on your own.
Yeah.
Go somewhere where people would expect you to come with someone else. So if you choose to go to a fine dining restaurant and say table for one, if you choose to go to the cinema, or you choose to do a group activity, but you think, let me just do it on myself. The best way to really connect with yourself or reconnect with yourself is to spend time with yourself because then you're not focused or distracted by other people. And you learn about yourself so much as well. Best example I can give is like when you go on holiday, if you go on a solo holiday, I always encourage everyone to go on a solo holiday.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you're not with friends or family, you have no choice but to put yourself out there.
Hmm.
And you learn so much about yourself because maybe when you were on holiday with friends and family, other people will be doing certain things that you now have to do because you now have to do everything for you.
Mm.
So take yourself on a date, journal. My new thing now as well is I encourage people to have two journals. So have a work journal and have a personal journal so that this is also the start of creating those boundaries for yourself.
Yeah.
The work journal is you're focusing on your hopes and dreams and wants and wishes for work and what's going on with work solely. And then you have your personal journal where you're also focusing on the same things but for your personal life. And of
Mm.
course, sometimes the two cross over because your values, ideally, I would encourage that your values align with your work goals.
Yeah.
They do cross over, but have the two separate. And with those two separate, when you're journaling, think about what makes you feel good. I
Yeah.
try to stay away from saying make you feel happy because another one of my quotes is throw happiness in the bin because it is a false prophecy that has been sold to us from a very young age based on a reward system that society created. Now, I know I'm steering a bit on the side here, but I think it's important for people to hear
Yeah,
this. If you
absolutely.
think about it from a young age, you're taught to work hard, set some goals, and when you achieve those goals, you get something and that reward will make you feel happy. Oh, if you behave well, you'll get this for Christmas, or you'll get this for your birthday, or you get some
Hmm.
pocket money. And then you do that into adult life. Oh, if I buy the car, I'll get happy. And just like a toddler, it's like a shiny new toy. And for some time you're happy, and then you get bored and you're like, something doesn't feel right. Let me work on buying a house. That will make me feel happy.
Mm.
And happiness just doesn't work. And I think as well because we there's no true definition of what happiness really is.
Yeah.
And this is why I say part of your journey to really feeling good is to focus on contentment
Mm.
rather than happiness. So as you're asking yourself these questions of what makes me feel good? And if you don't know, when did you last feel good? When did I last feel good? What
Mm.
was going on in that moment? Who was I with? Why did that moment make me feel good? So these are the things that make you feel content. And the reason why contentment is more important than happiness is because I know some people don't like it. They think it means being complacent, but it doesn't. With contentment, you can still set goals for yourself. But what it means, it's more focusing on being good enough. Okay, I've got
Mm.
these goals. If I don't achieve that goal right now, it's okay because I still have X, Y, and Z, and those things make me happy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you focus on chasing that happiness, you're like that hamster on that wheel,
Yeah.
just
And then
running
that,
and running.
yeah. The other thing that came to my mind as soon as you said that is the spike, the drop, the spike, the drop. Whereas, yeah, but even that is a storyline, a narrative of like, oh, well, again, we've created that. Why can't we just be happy in that? And like something comes in, like, yeah, I'm worthy of this, of course.
Mhm.
Like, not, and then it's a huge big thing, and then, ooh, again. Like, and I think that's really powerful because, yeah, you should just, if you are working towards something enough and it comes into your life, you should just know, well, of course, because this is what I expected. This is what I expect for me. So I definitely can relate to what you're saying. Absolutely. It's really important. Yeah, really powerful. And um, One thing that I always ask, there's so much more I could ask, to be honest. Before I ask you the last question, because I want to be really valuable of your time, is there anything right now, anything else? Because this is your time, your chance to share anything that you want to share, that you just want to share on top of anything you're doing, you want people to know about.
Mhm. Yes, so I'm a woman of many hats. Um, but how I can say is what my thing or the many things that I do is to focus on helping you find your voice and reclaim your power. And just remembering that you have that power innate in you. And the work I do is to bring that out. So whether it is through therapy on a one-to-one basis or through my courses, because I have my leadership course and I have my mental wealth course that will be coming out soon. Um, Also through teams as well. So if you work for a business, if you're a CEO, entrepreneur, and you really believe in sustainable well-being, positive well-being, and positive mental health,
Mm.
I'm your person. A lot of the work that I do is that because I challenge the status quo and it's about changing narratives, I say make mental health part of your brand.
Yes.
So, people talk about personal branding. I talk about personal branding in the sense of mental health because that is your brand. Essentially, mental health is our foundation because it is our brain. And if we don't have that foundation, we cannot function. And it's something that I've often noticed sometimes with teams where they will say that they've got the EAPs and that they do have the support system, but the numbers are not adding up because the
Mm.
numbers are saying that at present, the UK businesses in total are spending, mental health is costing them £56 billion, right?
Mm.
Whereas for every £5 you invest in mental health, you get £1 return. So would you rather that or
Mm.
costing yourself 56 billion? And that's due to people, calling in sick because we still live in a culture where people do not feel comfortable to say, I do not feel like myself today. I am struggling mentally. I don't think I can come to
Yeah.
work. We're still talking about physical health symptoms so that we don't have to come into work. So I do a lot of that work, just understanding the company culture and
Mm.
talking to your employees, talking to leadership, and just understanding what well-being strategy will truly work for your organization so that there is better performance,
Mm.
and people are not just coping, but they're actually thriving because people are still suffering in silence. And
Absolutely, yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
carry
it's
on. Yeah, no, no,
okay.
carry on. Yeah.
No, 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 it's okay. So yeah, so it's just I do training, workshops and talks on mental health and DEI, and I have my courses. So if you are interested in my courses or you want to join my soon to be mental wealth circle, which
Yeah.
will have some resources, some workshops by myself, and just a community of people who don't just want to focus on mental health, but want to focus on creating mental wealth,
Mm.
contact me. I'm sure Shel Marie will share my details where
I
you can
will,
talk
absolutely,
about that.
darling.
So that will be a membership group. And also I'm working on my book. So the mental wealth code. So look out for that as
Amazing.
well.
Wow. I'm sorry, I feel like I just spoke on the top of you sharing that. Could you just share the title? Did you say the title?
Yeah, so the title is Disrupting Minds, the Mental Wealth Codes.
Amazing. Um, just even though your beautiful radiant face is so nice, could you just go slightly to one side? Because I spoke about this in the start, and I just really want people to see wealth. Um, so there's a reason why I emphasize that because it isn't just something we say. Thank you so much, darling. It isn't just something we say. Our wealth is our health, and whether that's a play on that, I love the way you write that. So that's why, even though I emphasized that people couldn't see it, you so beautifully presented it anyway, so people can really, really see. And I would have put it in the notes anyway. And just one final thing before I ask you the last thing that I picked up on what you said, which shows these loops and spirals. And that's literally what you said, when we think about the power of words and our brain not actually knowing the difference often,
Mhm.
especially when we are acting in order to have a day off.
Mhm.
Oh, I really, don't feel great. Often, then, not always, but it takes a very strong minded person to then not all of a sudden generate that outcome. So I know
Mhm.
that's a very deep thing, but even that in what you said is if we can just show up and be honest and open about our mental health, just really it's so important what you're doing, so important. And I'm super excited for you.
Thank you.
Um, so last thing that I always ask my guests, just before you go, is if there was something just off the top of your head right now that you think someone listening would really, really need to hear, what would you tell them?
I see you, I hear you, and I feel you. You deserve more. Remember, you have a voice. Your voice and your identity are important, okay? Your identity is your message and your voice is your power.
Wow. Oh, it's been so amazing. Thank you. Really transformative and impactful and just so beautiful to just co-create this with you. Thank you so, so much. And I'm
Um,
excited for you and all that continues to evolve. And yeah, you are 100% in the most beautiful way a woman on a mission, and I've got your back 100%, girl. Love it. Love it,
I
love it, love
love
it.
that. Thank
Amazing.
you. Thank you so much. And you are an amazing, so lovely and warm individual. And it's been such a pleasure to be part of your podcast. I feel so honored to have been invited. And I really hope that your listeners gain something from our session today.
They will absolutely, no question about that. But thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.